Are men more likely to be pedophiles than women, or do women just get reported less often? The problem is it's hard to get the right data because people have been sexually abused by both genders and won't say anything. But I had a conversation with former friends who said a woman can't rape a man and that if you don't like it, some wrong with you, or gay accusations. And that's one thing that's what wrong with it in my eyes. The problem with this is that if you go off opinion that women aren't reported, or even possible celebrated, you have to take into account all the pedophilia that is conducted by males that ain't reported. So we have to work with the verified convoy data. Most pedophiles will commit multiple sex crimes. Identifying whether it is classified as males or females is the tricky part. Some studies say men commit a grossly disproportionate amount of it. Other studies say males do commit more, but female crime is underreported.
I was raped in college and it seemed the world was enraged with me. My brother was raped by his own girlfriend and my mother said, "Now you know how women feel," and his friends said, "She's your girlfriend, faggot," and if that's not fucking awful, I don't know what is.
Have you ever seen the news about teachers? Damn, they're almost as bad as Catholic priests. It's possible women get reported less, proportionally, in a criminal sense. But that doesn't explain the disparity in other reporting like surveys, psychological studies, even anecdotally. There might even be some angle that women with those urges tend to act on them less frequently for some reason. But I very much doubt that would explain such a large discrepancy. Nope. It really does seem like this is an area where men heavily outweigh the women. When a guy comes out and says I've been molested, or you see these articles where the hot teacher sleeps with a kid, and it's always men who comment, "Nice. I wish it was me." Why he report it and ruin a good thing? Quote. The list can go on and on about men who want this sort of fantasy. And then we have the women who hear these things and go along with it. They say something along the lines, "Men can't get raped. They enjoy it. How can they get hard if they weren't turned on? He's gay if he didn't like it. I don't have a solution for it. How can we change a social norm?" Statistics show women rarely interfere with their own children in comparison to men. Their saw is usually against teens and the woman is usually in a position of power. Teacher, coach. This type of saw is incredibly underreported as women can't rape. Come on dude, you bang the hot teacher, and the lack of supports and resources geared towards men. They have a lower rate of reoffense but tend to gravitate towards younger men. 10 plus years younger, just on the legal side. Whereas men, unless they have intensive intervention immediately and it was a crime of convenience, access to children of friends and family, and they are caught young, before age 15, have a 90% of reoffending. This includes actual SAW, CP. 95% of men continue to consume barely legal porn. Source. Worked 15 plus year with SO. Generally, there are a lot more sexual crimes committed by men. Of course it's possible for women to be aggressors. But if we look at harassment, rape, serial killers etc., there is a very clear overrepresentation. I would say men are more likely to be child predators, not the same as pedophile, than women. Do millions and millions of women get off to porn of barely legal boys in the way millions and millions of men get off to porn of barely legal girls? Testosterone is a hell of a drug. When I was on T blockers and estrogen, I didn't get any sort of sexual urge the way I do on testosterone. It was like having post-nut clarity forever. I imagine this effect contributes to the sex-based difference in harassment, rape, pedophilia, etc. Statically, the vast majority of rape is done by men, to either women or other men. Same with pedophilia, drunk driving, etc. That does not mean women don't rape or do horrible things to kids. But it's less than men by default. Why is this? There are many theories and studies about this, and we aren't a 100%. It could both biological, but also social structure that makes some like that. I think it's a combination of both. Ps. I'm a man myself. Lots of wonderful men out there. Don't get me wrong. But a strange man is more likely to assault you than a woman. Honestly, based on just anecdotal data, I would find men to be more likely to be sex offenders than women. Even just in terms of aggressiveness, men outnumber women. I highly doubt they are even close to being equal in terms of offenders. Generally speaking, yes. Men are more likely to be pedophiles than women. Not even in a legal sense. Which is fucking bullshit how many people ignore rape women commit, but also in a percentage rate. I'm a man and I was molested, but for some reason adult men in my life didn't seem to bothered by the fact I got molested until after I told them my abuser was a man. I, male, was a victim of my female babysitter as a 4-year-old. And my parents found out and she went to jail. So that's a report at least. Men are much more likely. The idea that women are just as likely but supposedly reported less often is an unfounded conspiracy theory used by certain men to defend pedophilia. There is certainly truth in the idea that when a woman is reported for pedophilia, society is more willing to make excuses for her behavior. But it shouldn't be any surprise that the majority of those making excuses for her are men who think a teenage boy should be happy with any sexual contact, regardless of consent. But anonymous surveys confirm a gender imbalance in sex crimes. There's a gender imbalance with most crime. There's a reason the most prolific serial killers are men. There's a reason men typically commit suicide in much more violent ways. There's a reason why nearly every school shooter is male. There are so many correlating factors that paint a very clear picture and confirm that there isn't some mysterious underground of millions of female pedophiles who have managed to go completely undetected. There's also simply no basis for the idea that women are reported less often. I've worked exclusively with sex offenders for 20 years. Half that time on McNeil Island at the SCC and half in what is basically a work release program. I've worked with 400 to 450 men. I've worked with one cis woman. The number of male offenders is way higher. Men seem to have a stronger predatory and sexual drive in general, so I'd say they are more likely to be violent or sexual abusers, period. Stats back this idea up. In no way am I saying women cannot be pedophiles. But I would posit that a maternal instinct is stronger in most women than sexual drive. Women are less likely to sexually assault children, and less likely to be caught or charged upon doing so. Specific to pedophilia, I am not sure if they are less or more likely to be pedophiliacs, which is someone with a sexual attraction to prepubescence. But evidence suggests that even if so, they are less likely to act on it. Current studies of female pedophiliacs note that they self-identify as rare among their pedophiliac peers. On the other hand, the sampling approach relies on existing social media and clinical support groups, and these are biased towards male participation. There may also be a bias in female pedophiliacs ever identifying as such or expressing their sexual desires in ways that are criminalized, so they would not likely be part of formal systems, nor consider themselves pedophiliacs at all. That said, work to date strongly suggests that female pedophilia is rarer than male pedophilia, given that pedophilia is most likely a psychological illness that results from experience. It is worth highlighting that this would suggest that there are cultural, family influences on males that promote this adverse outcome. Also, pedophilia is a specific age group. The broader term is minor attracted person. MAP. Everything I wrote above applies to all MAP diagnoses. MAPs include several variations. There are variations beyond age only. All MAP diagnoses also share the feature of being minor attracted, and are important because of the risk of a MAP engaging in sexual assault of a minor. On that note, it is worth highlighting that assault and criminalization are not the same thing as attraction, and studies of one should not be construed as the other. This is especially important when comparing gender and how many MAPs are identified through engaging in criminal or suspicious activity. I think the statistic is about men being more likely to be aggressors in assaults.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.